Hello and welcome to Decorating Pages podcast. I am your host, Kim Wannop. And on this episode, I have a daring episode, I must say. It is with Daredevil Born Again's production designer Michael Shaw and set decorator Rebecca Meis DeMarco. And it's really interesting conversation about decorating and designing for not only a superhero, but a blind one. And how you immerse that character in his space without knowing that he's going to see anything. It's very interesting. It's such a interesting character to design and decorate for, so that's coming up. What else? I am working, which is why I was not able to get an episode out last week, because I'm busy. But I am on the second season of A Man on the Inside for Netflix, and I am so lucky to be a part of this group with producers from The Good Place, Parks and Rec, Veep. I mean, I've worked with a lot of these people over and over, and it's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so lucky, and I can only wish that on anyone working in this industry, that they're able to repeat business with good people. It makes such a difference. And it's just your day-to-day life. Like production designer Ian Phillips and I have worked together so many times, and it's awesome. It's great to have that shorthand together. It's great to develop new characters together, and some old ones to repeat for a second season. So it's good. If you like the first season, you will like the second one. I will say that, because I've read all 8 episodes. And it's great. That's it. That's all I can say. What else? So in 2 weeks, it's only 2 weeks away, is the 200th episode of this podcast, which is crazy to me. But it's gone by in a flash, and I'm so lucky to have done it. But I will be releasing also a set decorator masterclass, which I'm so excited to do. And I've been wanting to do it and been putting things together for a long time. And it's taken me a long time to get it all together, because I want it to be just right. And I want it to be informative and a real lesson for people who want to get into set decorating. So thank you to people who have reached out in excitement. So I'm excited too. And there will be, things that I haven't released on this podcast. There will be lessons like how to work and parent at the same time, how to negotiate your deal, and how to hire your crew. Things that are key in your decorating career. So any information that I hope will help get you through those things. What is Wannop watching? Kind of the same thing. I'm watching also because we have another design thing coming up, which is the influence of art and the influence of design, production design on our world. I'm also doing that. So I've been watching a lot of films from Richard Silbert and Paul Silbert. That's a clue. They will be celebrated in one of the lessons that I have of that. So I have been watching Reds. I've been watching The Graduate. I've been watching Kramer versus Kramer. Things films that they production designed, and their list is unbelievable. So I'm excited to deep dive into their careers also. So that series is also coming up. See, I'm busy. I'm not just dicking around here, people. And I got kids and baseball and the show and commute and cool. Speaking of commute, I finished, it's called Hollywood and the Movies of the 50s, The Collapse of the Studio System, The Thrill of the Cinerama, and the Invasion of the Ultimate Body Snatcher, Television, by Foster Hirsch. And he narrates it. I loved his voice through this. He's a college professor who analyzes films, and my God, does he analyze like every single film from the 50s. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I think it was like 28 hours or something. I don't care. I loved it. This book gives such a fun and detailed peek into Hollywood during the major turning point, which was the 50s, when TV started shaking things up and studios started to panic and filmmakers had to get super creative to keep moviegoers hooked. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? Like something going on now. It covers fascinating inventions like the Cinerama, the widescreen technology, along with so many details about films in the 50s, and there's so much packed into this book. It was unbelievable. So I would totally recommend that to anyone who is a Hollywood enthusiast. It's really great. Again, Hollywood and the Movies of the 50s by Forrest Hirsch. I loved it. What else am I watching? I'm watching White Lotus like everybody else. Now, I'm actually getting ahead, and I'm recording this on Sunday, so I haven't seen the finale yet. I could predict who I think is going to die. I'm probably wrong. I think the youngest brother's going to die. He's probably going to drink that poison fruit or something. And I don't know. Maybe the girlfriend of Rick, because that guy is his father. I don't know. These are my predictions. There are so many fan theories with Severance and White Lotus going on TikTok, on Instagram, that you kind of get sidetracked of like, wait, is that the show, or are these just these theories I keep running into? But I love that people are so into it. I love that people are interested in seeing, like, spotting details like in Severance, spotting the design of the show being influenced in the story, and the same with White Lotus. There's a blender there, you know. He hiding that gun in the drawers, like, you know, set dressing comes into it a lot. Also watching the Righteous Gemstones, which is hilarious to me. So I don't know. It's not for everyone, but I love it. I think it's hilarious. I can't. I'm so bummed that it's over. But yes. Okay, let's get to this episode. Today I chat with production designer Michael Shaw and set decorator Rebecca Meis DeMarco, the creative team behind Marvel's gritty reboot, Daredevil Born Again. Michael and Rebecca reveal how they tackled the unique challenges of creating grounded, realistic sets within the Marvel Universe. From Matt Murdock's tactile-filled apartment to Wilson Fisk's stately yet subtle, oppressive office. We also dive into how their collaborative design process influenced character development through subtle visual storytelling. We talk about the details that they had given to these characters, especially, as I said, with Matt being blind and his set. We talk a lot about lighting because he's blind. Does he have his lights on? Doesn't he? I mean, that's the thing. And so also shooting in New York City, giving it that grittiness. And he also tells, you know, how Marvel wanted this to be a little different. A little, you know, a different look than their usual Marvel shows. So I hope you enjoy. But at least we can talk about it as we go. It's visually more fun. So how'd you guys get involved with the project? Can I ask that? Michael, how'd you come on first?
Start because, you know, I always get hired first.
Right.
My agent told me about the project. I was not a Marvel or Netflix. I didn't see the series on Netflix. I wasn't really a big Marvel fan. Not a fan, but just I wasn't you know, I of course know Marvel, but I wasn't like a super fan. And I was approached about it because they were looking for a new, very grounded series. And that's kind of what I've been doing in the past. And I had a great interview. It was really such an exciting concept. But I was a little concerned that I wouldn't get it because I wasn't the Marvel,
Right.
You know. And it turned out that it worked, and I got hired. And what I was looking for and what they were looking for was a crew who were like me, who were not super fans, who could bring a fresh eye and a new look to the series. And you know, Becca was my first and only choice.
That's
And
nice. That's always nice.
she is, you know, she brought so much of what it needed, what the show needed.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really refreshing to hear, first of all, that they didn't keep within the family because a lot of like bigger producers or bigger production company they stay with the same people. And then once you're in there, you're like it's like a cult. It's like they don't let you
Yeah.
out. They don't let
It's
you in, they don't let
it's
you.
a testament to, the intelligence of how Marvel creates things is that they purposely went out of their way to look for people who had done features
Mhm.
and people who didn't fit the mold, because as the show is called Born Again, they wanted it to really feel like, okay, we're in a new place. And New York, they wanted
Yeah.
New Yorkers. They wanted it to have the vibrancy and energy that New York has.
It definitely has that. It definitely has a lot of realism too with that BB cam and like the going around and seeing like the grittiness of it. And I think like regular people. That was one of the things I was like, oh, this is like following like regular people and how the character the Daredevil and that they're affecting these people and crime and like their way of life. So I thought that was really interesting that take on it. Um,
Yeah, the BB report does an excellent job of grounding the
yeah,
world. So you believe you are really in this place.
yeah,
And it's a really good contrast to the superhero element,
yeah.
the suspension of disbelief.
It's a weird superhero. Daredevil's kind of like a everyday man. I don't know. I almost don't think of him like a superhero. I thought of it more as like I'm watching a good. I didn't really feel like I was watching Marvel because there's sometimes they're so big and they're so out of like a belief that this seems more like you were saying like more grounded and everything. I thought that was a really nice take on everything and Daredevil. So
Yeah.
Becca, you were the one and only choice, so you really had no choice here. You had to take the job.
I had to take the job, absolutely, and it was an honor.
And
It
why not?
really, it was terrific. I learned so much, and just being able to work with Michael and um, help bring his ideas, find the things, and go through that process was really
Mm,
inside. It was it. I learned so much. It was great. It was really, really great, and the collaboration together with the two of us, it was so much fun. We would just sit down and have, I'd always call them riff sessions, where we would just like throw things out and talk about it and put together. We had this huge board in our back room, and we would just pin up
oh,
pictures and inspiration. And it was one of the best collaborations I've ever had. And I'm so grateful to have been able to do that.
oh, that's so nice. It's so
Yeah,
nice.
it
Oh,
is.
it's
And we made a decision, early on that we both like paper and we
mm,
both like tactile. And our vision board was what Becca was just talking about, a giant wall in the office where we would just take references and pin them up and fabrics and colors and move it around, um, kind of like a central design command
mm.
That's a good way to put it.
or board,
I mean, I think research. I mean, it's I'm on a job right now, and like my research period's kind of over. Now we're buying things, and now it's like, and I always feel like, oh, really like that. I love that stage of the process,
Yeah.
moving
It was
into
super.
reality.
Yeah, it was super fun with the mayor's office
Mm,
and city hall. It's just like, we really researched the transition through time of his office and Gracie Mansion, and picked different parts of the eras of design from that and made it look like ours,
yeah,
which is true. It was very true, and super fun to do that.
I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna share my screen right now, but how was it working with the DP in this? Like, is that
Others.
because I mean, obviously you had pieces that were like in darkness. Like sometimes his whole room is in darkness. So, I mean, that's something you really have to collaborate on. And some of the fight scenes are really dark and
Yeah, I mean, sometimes to our dismay, you know.
yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
It's
well, I was
not
gonna.
like we were
I mean, I'm definitely
designing.
gonna ask about that because you do these wonderful sets and then none of the lights are on. So,
Yes, hello. Yeah, I mean that's always perpetually a problem.
yeah,
But you have to design. Becca and I would go to great lengths to add details that the camera will never see,
yeah, but we
and
know
the
they're
actors experience it, and
yeah,
that makes it a performance. But and the producers walk in and the crew walks in and everybody goes, "Wow,
yeah,
I feel like I have just been transformed into this world without lighting, without effects, without atmosphere, without actors. You just already feel like you're there." That to us was the bar we always tried to hit, no matter
Mhm.
what the character was, what the set was, because that's just our kind of gold standard anyway. And we made a pact in the very beginning of working together that even if we had 2 cents, we were going to strive to, create the most nuanced
yeah,
vision for every set.
yeah,
But that said, when you watch daily, sometimes you're like, hey, there's a whole.
yeah. Hey, where'd my set go? But you do open the show opens in this room, which I think is fantastic because you don't know where you are, but
Yeah,
they've got beautiful paintings on the wall. You've got great lighting. And I mean, and it's monotone in the sense except for the paintings coming out. So you get a sense of like who are these people and what are they doing there? I mean, what was the inspiration for this? Is this a basement? Like I could never really knew where we were here.
that's good.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that is good.
Okay,
And
good.
this was one of our trickiest ones just to get it right because um, I think a lot of people had different ideas of what this was supposed to be, and we did a lot of it evolved a
Mm,
lot, and the outcome I think was really terrific.
yeah.
It was scripted as a warehouse,
Mm,
and we were really focused on trying to have this become not just another warehouse set, which is
right.
usually when you read warehouse, it's like a placeholder.
Well, it's huge too. I think
It's huge, and normally it's going to be like, oh, rundown warehouse, rough space. This is the beginning of. This is our first view of what the revitalized port is, and nobody knows really what this looks like. And we wanted it to feel unusual, and so we ended up actually going to an art storage facility,
oh, nice. So
which is
this
what this is supposed to be. It's where her gallery, she stored all
I
this
see.
this artwork, and it's called a free port. And the idea of the free port is that everything is like kind of duty free, and you don't have to pay taxes on anything.
Mm.
Um, you can get away with a lot. So and the corrugated metal is really important. But this was just a raw space.
I really like that material because it plays well with the light and you get the variations and I love those circular lights, the ones on the sides too. They're really great.
That was a Becca and I early on put that into the rendering and said, okay, we need to define the space. And the directors said, no, 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 we just want some fluorescent fixtures, something really basic. And we had to do a little twisting, said, trust us, it's going to look great.
Yeah.
And they did come up to us at the end and say,
Yeah.
after they shot this, said,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
looks
We're
great.
good.
Yeah. Looks great. Um this is a build. The law firm is a build, correct? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a beautiful space because you have so many materials in here, and you play with the glass and the brick and the huge windows. Were you were you always thinking like we're gonna have a view with this? We're gonna like bring it like this type of architecture?
Yeah, a lot of what we talk, we're dealing with a sight impaired person in his sets, his law firm, his apartment. And so texture, like Michael would say a lot, it's not like he's walking around touching everything, nor is anyone else, but we want to be able to see that there is thought from Matt's
Right.
world in the design of his space. So that was a lot of what we talked about a lot.
Yeah.
And the idea that his world has sweeping views of the city that he's left. This is his office is in Brooklyn and his home is in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Both of those spaces, the idea that he's got this incredible view that he will never see, and it helps reinforce his disability.
God, I didn't think of that. That's a good one.
And also his leaving the superhero world and fighting
Right.
evil through his legal endeavors.
I love all the glass in it too, because you're giving such depth and seeing the other parts of the office when they're talking and everything. And I was like, oh, I did think about like, is it glass because maybe he can see a little bit and maybe he's seeing some shadows. Like was there? I don't know. It's like
Really was to create a lot of layers.
yeah,
Again, when you're thinking about sight is, always diffused some way, and through panes of glass, through layers of things. The idea, like the idea of lenses.
mm-hmm.
So a lot of these panes were purposefully textured and
Yeah, I can see.
semi-transparent.
Like over
So
here, like the texture you gave with them, like the beveled glass you have.
glass, and what happens to a figure behind that when they walk is it's sort of like if you were vision impaired,
Right.
you would see a shape, a shadow, something that's familiar, but you wouldn't be able to make it out. And that was the idea, not that any of this is talked about, it's just something that the viewer can feel.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What was the inspiration for like art pieces? Because I did really love, I mean, the art behind him is great. And then there's this piece on this back wall that I don't think I ever saw close up. But what is your inspiration for the art and the sculptures?
I had pulled personal favorite artists of mine, and there were several, and these two stood out to us the most. Vicky Sher, that's her art in the big this, yeah.
Yeah.
It it's like Matt sees in some way, and we don't really know how that is, and we wanted to have visually perhaps like a feeling behind it.
Right.
It was from him. And the other art in that front room that you don't see as much, Catherine Hildebrand, she does mathematical equations overlaid with these florals. It's so beautiful and so layered and textured, and would be something that Matt would want the people that are working with him to feel and see. And
Yeah.
that's how we went about with that.
There's also one other component to it, which is just visually, like the both of the pieces and basically everything. We used some of Becca's photography also. Is they are pieces in the conference room somehow, because of Dot's
Oh, right. Yeah.
Rail.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other pieces feel they're landscapes, but they're fuzzy,
Oh, I'm back.
as if they're out of focus. And you look at them and you go, well, these are abstract, but they're also landscapes. And so, again, it's like playing with vision, the idea,
And reflection.
Yeah.
How long did you have for prep on this?
I was thinking about that earlier. I was like trying to remember. I think we had like 8 weeks.
Yeah, I had longer, of course, but they were, it was really, I will say that even on season 2, Marvel, or whoever makes those decisions, was really smart about giving a lot of prep.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because we had a chance to really refine what we wanted, what the intention of the direction is. And before it got crazy, when you're just like going, we had a chance to really zero in on what we wanted and collaborate, which, as you know, you get to a place when I don't see Becca for a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's picking out things and I'm doing things. And all of a sudden, if you're not in sync, you're going to be surprised.
Yeah.
And that never happened.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
And how many stages did you have? How many builds did you have? You have this. Oh, I was going to ask, but you have this, and then the Gracie Mansion, and then the courtroom?
City Hall.
City Hall. Yeah.
Yeah. And Matt's apartment.
And Matt's apartment. Yeah.
And then his rooftop.
Oh, yes. I was going to ask about that too. It's beautiful up there. Like the skyline for it is beautiful.
Yeah, the rooftop was really fun. We used it for a bunch of different rooftops.
Yeah, it was really fun.
This was the other sculpture I was going to ask about. This one back here.
Yeah.
Vertical.
I'm blanking where it was from. There's 2 from the same artist in there. And sorry, can't remember them.
It's a really simple, beautiful, abstract piece.
It's wood.
Yeah, it stands out really nicely in the space. I was really drawn to that. I really liked it.
That's the fact that you mentioned that it's wood is with Matt. We wanted to create this big contrast with Wilson, and everything, even though there's metal in Matt's world, there's a lot of wood, there's a lot of brick, there's a lot of warmth.
Yeah.
You associate brick with warmth, especially if it's a warm color. And so Wilson, you don't see any brick.
No.
You don't. And
here's Wilson.
It's grays, it's blues, it's cool.
It's very cold. Yeah.
All the grays are on the cool side, and we really wanted this to. It was important for Wilson to feel in this new place that he's out of place.
This is my wheelhouse. I love I love all the formal, the federal. I'm all in on this, and was like, look at those tassels.
Yeah,
all of that.
George Krivovak, who was one of my assistants, did all the drapes, and he's a king of them and did an awesome job.
Yeah. Is this your version of Gracie Mansion, or is this replica? Because I'm unfamiliar actually with this office.
This is City Hall, the mayor's office.
The mayor's office.
And it's we studied it and researched it, and it is very, very close to the actual.
But we definitely had to riff on it.
Yeah.
To make it bigger.
We took I would say it's heavily inspired by.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not, but it's not a replica for sure. And it has a little bit of Oval Office, a little bit of any of those really formal federal buildings that it had to convey that this is the seat of power
Right.
and history.
It's very stately. I mean, you've done a wonderful job giving this presence of the stately surroundings for him and making him feel like a bigger man, I think.
Well, and strangely, he feels like a smaller man in this,
Yeah.
because he's so out of place. I mean, his desk is a little smaller than you would imagine. One of the things that was important to us was to have the furniture. Wherever Fisk is in his world, the furniture is a little small,
Mm.
a little demure, so that he is always like, he can't ever get comfortable. And he's such a big guy.
Yeah, he's such a big guy. I don't think that was hard. Like, because he's a tall, big dude.
Right.
He was very involved in that also. Like he really wanted to make sure whatever he was sitting in did make him uncomfortable. And oftentimes I would have a few for him to try out.
Yeah.
Just so it worked right for him.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. I mean, again, these aren't the clearest photos, but when you watch it, you're like, oh, this is a really beautiful room. The details and all of the columns and the windows are fantastic. But yeah.
One of my favorite things is, like, one day, we didn't talk about this, but one day, before we started shooting, two cannons showed up on the window ledge. And it was like,
they're great.
And I'm pointing at him, and it's just like touch, a perfect set deck touch, which has become iconic in the show. We kept that for the next season, and
Oh, that's great.
Like those kinds of moments, decorating moments, are so important.
Yeah,
and can do so much, and nobody notices them.
Well, I think you notice those cannons. I mean, there's still
you notice it, you feel it.
Yeah.
You're not. You just feel like, oh yeah, that's just what it is.
Let me see what else. I have this also. I love the desk too. I also like all the interactions. I think you have like two doors in the room, so you have that circulation coming in and out, which is nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a beautiful room. This guy's a jerk. This dining room is fantastic. This dining room. So this is a build, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes.
And
this was heavily influenced. Like, I toured Gracie Mansion early just to see what it was, and I kind of felt like if we could shoot there and not do anything, it would be perfect. So this room we literally lifted exactly, and we had to get our own mural wallpaper from France, and we had to do curtains. It's not exactly the same, but the details and the furniture, but the kind of idea that they would be sitting in a room just like this with this shot, and it tells you everything without a word.
Yeah. I mean, it's their whole relationship is right there on the screen of like.
Yes.
I was so happy that it was a wide of like, because there is some sort, like, there one angle I got of his office, and then this wide. They keep him more wide shots, and with Matt, I think everything's a little tighter. I was wondering if that was discussed with you guys.
I think the idea, it to be honest, it wasn't discussed. I think the intention was to make him feel a little more lost.
Right.
And because Matt is more intimate, and it just feels like the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But this room is fantastic. How long did it take to get the wallpaper? Was it like...
It took a long time.
Yeah.
And they size it in different sizes, and we had to go back and forth many times, and different shades and tints would come. They would access samples, and we would look at them and try to put them in the right lighting, and it was a process, but so worth
Oh yeah.
so worth it. And I knew it was going to be worth it the minute that we found it. I knew that we had to do that.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
they had to size it exactly to what the set was.
Yeah.
It was like a month of back and forth with these people,
Mm-hmm.
doing renderings and mock-ups and everything and ordering it. And we order it, and a last minute change came in from the producers that they wanted to lower the ceiling.
Right.
Oh.
I forgot about that.
This really felt like he's claustrophobic. So it threw everything into a panic, and we had to. I think we resized it.
Yes,
we did. We sent it to them, and then they didn't resize it. So it came, and we had
that's
to.
right.
Cut it.
We had to cut.
Yes.
But anyway,
It worked.
I would have never known.
creating trauma.
Always. Isn't that the one time you're like, look, I'm pulling out the no card. It's a no. I think we can't redo this. Like,
I think that the one thing that Becca and I agree on is that, like, yes is the answer.
well,
Totally.
but
Yes.
what I usually say is like, are you like when the rape quest comes in, or like a schedule change, and you're like, are you asking me if we can pull that set up, or are you telling me that the set is being pulled up? Because I don't really think I have a choice in this. I think you're just telling me it shoots tomorrow. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
There's all that.
yeah,
But I think the idea that we can do anything
yeah,
is like we say, look, this is what it's going to cost.
yeah. Time and money.
Patience.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think we said no to those kinds of things. I mean, you just make it happen.
yeah. Well, that's the magic of our departments is making it happen. I mean, everyone else is filming our magic and
And
tweaking our.
this is just a shout out to Becca and her team, is that, I would always be throwing curveballs of like coming up with an idea the night before something because I had it in a dream, and consistently they would just go, okay, we can make that happen. And that
I love it. I love Michael's challenges.
Yeah.
I do. I love them. And they're always right on the money.
Well, sometimes though you do all this research and you're there, and it's not till you see the space, or you see like, I really thought that was gonna work, and if we have time, I'd like to change it. There's always
Yeah.
that. Because if you have the minute before it shoots to change it, we do it because we want it to be
Yeah.
right. We care. So we want those changes, and we want those last minute like, yeah, I guess you're right. You're right.
as long as it's done with compassion and caring and in
Yeah.
good intention, and not like it's just a dumb,
Yeah.
it can happen, I don't care what
Yeah.
we all have to, we all are human beings.
I love this courtroom. I love all the wood and the detail, and
That's the location.
oh, I love it.
But we brought in the furniture.
We did
And
a
the
lot.
art.
We did a lot to the walls. We painted it.
Right, there's a mural. Yeah.
Yeah, the mural. Do I have the mural?
Those murals were there, but we ended up having to repaint. The colors in here were pretty awful.
Right.
And
we built the jury box, no? Didn't we do that?
Oh, the jury box was there.
Oh,
Is the eagle there? He's pretty.
No.
Yeah.
I rented that from Newell.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's
and
heavy.
Do anything, but we did a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I was surprised that this was the location because you were in there so much. That's a lot. His apartment. So what is your inspiration for his apartment? You said he's in Brooklyn. You're giving him views that he can't see, the poor thing.
The idea for me was, this is an airy, like he's on top. You always associate Daredevil with rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
And as in this show, he's not really Daredevil yet. Um, I wanted him to feel like he can see everything. He's on top of a roof. He's a successful lawyer. He really is, he's again like surrounded by glass and views that he can never see.
Right. And then you give great depth through it goes right into his bedroom. I'm assuming that's his bedroom back there. I don't think we went in there. Not this. Yeah.
And Becca's like, incredible. It's like the level of detail on set deck in here.
Yeah, I mean, we made Braille books that are in his shelf, and a lot of personal items. And we started this season, Michael, remember, she lives with him.
Yes.
And then it changed. So we had to completely sort of reimagine what this set was when that change happened. And, to think about how a visually impaired person lives, do they use lighting? Do
right.
they, and we did a lot of research up front on what specific things are in the home. How do they cook? How do they eat? How are things set up? And it is very specific, and we made sure we honored that and respected that. And Matt Charlie was very insightful with things that he would like to have as well. So it was a great collaboration all the way around.
And one of my favorite things is Becca said she wanted to have a scented garden in the window ledge with herbs.
Herbs.
So I think there's even a scene when he will go and like take an herb and smell it.
Yeah, when he's cooking in the dark. Yeah.
And, that wasn't scripted. That was just a beautiful inspiration from Becca.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'd have to take the herbs up to the Teamsters office because they had great sunlight. And so the Teamsters office was filled with beautiful herbs, and Courtney, our coordinator, would mist them and take care of them and talk to them, and then we bring them back down to set. It was fun.
It's hard to keep plants alive on set. It's hard. The greensman job to make all those plants, water those plants and give them light and haul them in and haul them out. But our plants, like you're saying, like that we take care of, I'm horrible. I never take home a plant. I'm not good with it. It'll die in my care. But that's a beautiful detail to give him.
And there's things like, a continuing motif is braille and dots. And so the knobs for all of his cabinets are cylinders and circles. And the lights all have
the dots,
little dots. And it's all stuff that we know. Nobody else would notice, but we know.
Oh, I really like those lights. I didn't think about the braille, but I was like, oh, it's perforating light. Maybe I was going back to like the giving it some dimension and everything. They're really pretty. Really.
They are. I remember searching for those lights because Michael was like, I really would like a ceramic light with holes in it. And I was like, wow, okay. Luckily we found them. I'm so happy about that.
Then you get down and dirty when he goes to meet the Punisher, which is always, I feel like I love dirty sets. I love clutter and dirtiness and like all of this. Was there a part of bringing in that film's, was it a film or a TV series that he did, and then bringing that in, or is this like your take?
It's a little bit of both. In how I feel about it. And John Barenthal and I think he and I spoke 5 or 6 times, and he would send me. He was very, very collaborative with it. And I mean, this is us, Michael. You know, we started it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the space itself, is all designed, not really. I mean, it's somewhat based on an actual basement space that we shot in for some of the corridor stuff. But this is one of those spaces, weirdly, that every single person goes into, and it's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like it's a dank basement space with a bunch of pipes in the corridor, but everybody just loves it.
Well,
Yeah.
there's so much character
Yeah.
in all the dressing and like he's living here, and I mean he's got his hot plate, he's got a million TVs next to some guns. I mean, it's like he's got his murder board.
Living soon,
I love a murder board. I used when I was on Bones, we used to do them all the time, and the string and like the post-its, and I miss doing. I kind of miss doing murder boards. I'm gonna be honest, but I love
Yeah,
the
not all
information.
murder boards look right either. I mean, it's
Yeah,
and we spent a lot of time on this one, and to make it not look like
yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
red string, murder board.
Yeah. It looks like an older murder board, and then he keeps adding to it, which I think is
Yeah.
it's not a new murder board. Which is nice.
No,
It's
and
really
there's a
good.
lot of everything on there too is something specific to his search.
Did you have people like sending you letters? Are they doing close-ups on your on your board yet?
I haven't
Right.
I haven't gotten anything yet, but
You never
But
know.
John Bernthal is like an intensely
Yeah, he scares me.
detailed actor, and
yeah.
everything we knew from the get-go that everything had to be up to par and really detailed. Yeah.
Yeah, he scares me a little. Shane, was he Shane from Dead Walking? Um, I also I also love the lighting in this, and like we're kind of underground, but it's like greenish, and like especially when they first meet and he has the axe and he's like gonna hit him, and it's very intense scene. This is actually brighter than what it is on screen, but it's really really pretty.
One of the things that was important also, because it's thematic throughout the series, is that there's the above ground, which is like
Mhm.
Matt and Wilson trying to keep their darker below ground side in check, and the subterranean New York, and John's world is kind of in between.
Yeah.
But then, obviously later in the series, we do go to the darker side, and that was a purposeful concept.
When you're designing for the fight scenes and like the bar scene in the beginning when they're all fighting, how interactive is like the choreography with that, with like we need this bar to be smaller, or we need this, this layer to be wide open? Like, are you getting those type of notes, or are they just like dress it and then we'll work around it?
Yeah.
No, many,
No.
many meetings, many, many scouts, and specifics are discussed beforehand so that it's ready for them to go in. We even set up on stage, or the stunt
Mm-hmm.
folks set up a mock-up of the room,
Mm-hmm.
and something will happen within the choreography that they do, and they'll be like, hey, we need an electric box or something right here to be able to have a knife to get thrown in and knock all the lights out. And we're like, okay, so then we figure out what that is and make sure it gets in the right place for them. And
Yeah.
there was a lot that went into that.
Yeah, fight scenes are a lot. And then you're always worried things are going to get broken. Don't.
And they do.
I know they do. They do. I'm worried about it, and it happens. But yeah. Oh, I got a little high on the murder board. And is this a location or is this a build? The banks. Is the bank. But then did you bring in the art? Did you redo these panels?
The mural was there. Basically, when this script came out, the first thing we thought of was a Spike Lee movie called Inside Man.
Uh-huh. With Denzel.
And I thought that if we could get that bank, like that's the model. And I gave that to the location people and said, can we find a place like this or even this? And they said, well, weirdly, this place is not that location is not being used. So we ended up going there and shooting in that same bank.
Wow. I really,
Yeah.
How do you get clearance on all this?
We did.
I know the artists, I mean, like, or is it like public domain by now because it's older, or is it not?
This was actually created for Inside Man. And
Oh, it's still there. How nice.
Yeah. And so we had to go through a lot of channels to get permission, but we got it. We didn't want to really we didn't have the money to recreate it.
Yeah, it's a huge set. That's why I was like, oh, I think this might be a location.
When they go downstairs to the vault, that's all a set.
Oh, that to me was like maybe they went and did the vault and all the boxes on location because that's a lot.
No,
You tricked me.
The vault door leading. But
So how is location scouting in New York for this type of show when you're trying to show, like you were saying, like the energy of the city, but like there's still this grittiness? When you're selecting locations, what plays in your decision making?
well, I mean, part of the energy of New York fits really well with the story of being born again because it's since the Netflix show, it's become gentrified and it's changed.
Yeah.
So creating a contrast between the new gentrification of the city and the older classic New York diner and the classic places that kind of are going away, and the idea that Fisk is going to be revitalizing the Red Hook port. All of that plays in really well with what's happening actually in the city.
Right. What do you think, Becca, was your most challenging piece of set dressing or most challenging set throughout the season? A wallpaper?
Gosh, that's a really good question, and I never really have thought about it because you know how TV works. It's we're creating our stage sets up front, and then we start shooting. And the minute we start shooting one episode, Michael and I are prepping the next episode, and that's just sort of on its own. So
you're
it's
doing
just
films. I mean, the level of television that people do now, they're films. I mean, you're doing a film every how many days does it take to shoot an episode? 9, 10?
It's 10.
10.
But normally 10.
Yeah, 10 days. You're doing a film every 10 days. I mean,
yeah, and the minute one film is starting, that's the day we start prepping the next ones.
Yeah.
And
I would always think of Becca as like surfing on a tsunami,
That's fun.
That's a great visual for a set decorator. I do appreciate that.
It is, but it doesn't feel that way, which is especially working with Michael and the team that we had.
Your team.
How many buyers did you have? How many buyers did you have?
I had two full-time assistants, and then I would have buyers come in regularly.
Yeah. It's a lot. And it's like you said, and two, I always like, well, you have 8 weeks prep, but the stage work, we're not going to get to that till 12 weeks in. But then they front load you with all the locations.
We're going to give you that.
Yeah, we're going to give you those extra 2 weeks, to dress the sets. And you're like, yeah, but I have 17 locations to dress between then and now. So thanks.
And all the, concept meetings and prep meetings, and then budget meetings and all the things. But, I didn't see anything as being more difficult than the other. It all was, it all was, I don't have a set that was more difficult than anything.
No. No. Michael, did you have a big challenge on this, or did you feel like they gave you enough and prepared and money and time and?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was all kind of what we do. There was nothing that was insurmountable at all, and part of that, I'm smart enough at this point to understand that if I get the best people around me, then anything is possible.
Yeah.
Whatever money it is. And that's what I had. I mean, and really it just makes my job so much easier. And without that, I can't really do anything. So, but it's working with the producers and Marvel and everyone. The one thing every single crew person would say is like, I want a season 2 because I want to work with everybody again.
Yeah, that's always great.
That's always great.
It's always great.
And you're just go, okay, let's do it again.
Yay!
Unfortunately, Becca was already on another project, so because we never knew when they were coming back.
Becca broke up the band? What the hell, Becca?
I know.
Broke my heart.
I know.
Well, it is true.
I'll be available in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So. It's true. You never know. Our lives are so, we're such mobile people. You never know. And work is, oh, I'm going to take this project. I don't know when the other thing is starting. That's one of the hardest things of our job is like fear of missing out.
Yeah, totally. Like, and, between the strike and.
Yeah, you have to.
You gotta go.
So when did you finish this first season?
Spring of last year.
Spring of last year. And you're
like right now, wasn't it? Around now?
So yeah, it's kind of a blur.
It is kind of a blur.
And you're prepping season 2 now?
We're shooting.
You're shooting already. Oh yeah. Well then. That's nice. I mean, also I had read that they reshot some of the pilot and all, but how were you with storyline coming up? Like, were they giving we're going to have this coming up in episode 7 or 8, just giving you a heads up, like were scripts just coming as you go?
You mean after we reshot some of the pilot?
Yeah.
I have to say, like, the scripts came promptly and always on time. And
yeah, because
Darius and the showrunner was always accessible for questions and
that's awesome.
Getting a little more information. I felt like it just was. Everybody was so approachable and awesome. Informative.
Yeah,
quickly.
Because they're big sets, and I'm going to watch the rest of this now because I'm invested into the show. There's big sets that I'm assuming you got to get some heads up on. You gotta be aware of like, oh, this big location or this big dress, like, and sometimes
they were always well in advance with enough time, and not to say that things didn't change. They always change, when you're doing a series, but.
But Michael, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
Go.
You would always show them your renderings and always had responses right away of how they were feeling about certain things, and we could get that changed. And it was, I probably said that earlier, but that was what I felt like was the beginning of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I can't tell, like, it was not flawless, but it was definitely really well organized. And
And that helps us so much. Like it helps immensely in our preparation and going from episode to episode. Like it's really important. That's why I always ask it.
It had the potential to be really unorganized because we had a 6-month break because of the strike.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
horrible.
Yeah. And didn't help anyone. The strike helped anyone. I want to thank you guys. This was awesome. I'm invested in a new show because so I'm so glad to have been able to talk with you guys. The sets are great, and I love hearing all the detail for the characters. That's what I just love all that. Michael, I have to say, I mean, I went back and looked at Boys Don't Cry. And I loved the staircase. Like I was obsessed with that, the documentary and all of that. I thought that series, you did such a phenomenal job. So
yeah, that was a super fun project to do.
I bet. And was it the owl? I mean, I think it was the owl. I don't know. I'm the owl theory.
It's super plausible to me.
Yeah.
No.
And then
we built the entire house.
Oh, what an amazing series. I could watch that right now. I could probably go watch it right now. I love it. Yeah. And then Becca, your films are so inspiring also. I mean, Julie and Julia, Doubt, Doubt to me.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's such a phenomenal film, and the way it was shot and the way it was decorated, and Wolf of Wall Street and all that good stuff. So I'm super happy to have been able to meet you, I must say, also. So nice to meet you also. What a great team. And like I said, when you work with someone who you really enjoy working with and you just get along, I think you could tell by their faces they were really bummed that they're not working together again, but you never know when you're going to sync up. And they made a great team on this season of Daredevil. So I thank them very much for giving me the time and talking to them. And like I said, I mean, at the end, their resumes of other projects I wish I could, get into and talk about their careers. And, I always want to hear how people get started and all that jazz. I just love all of that. So I hope you enjoyed that interview. Coming up, as I said, our 200th episode is coming up. Crazy. And also next week, I'm going to be talking with set decorator Kristen Peterson. We're just going to sit down and talk. We're going to talk about her life, how she got into the business, how she has created an art business for the industry, which we'll get into, and how she did all that and how she came up with it. Also coming up, I have the designers and decorators, art directors talking to from Matlock, from Dexter, and many more that I haven't confirmed yet. So you know how I get very superstitious when I haven't confirmed shit. So I hope you got an earful, and I will see you next week. Thanks for listening. I'm Kim Wannop for Decorating Pages.